Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where today we have the Marvel Legends series, Marvel celebrating 85 years, Superior Spider-Man, and I've waited forever for a good Superior Spider-Man figure, and this one, from everything I've seen online, he is it. A lot of people don't like the storyline. I really did. I thought it did so well for a long time. I think it sort of petered out there at the end, but I think it was a very good storyline and very much made me love Dr. Octavius even more than I already do. And the suit is awesome. So I hope this means we get an updated Venom, like the symbiote version. And you can see in the overlay in the background, you get all the Marvel symbols, you get all that artwork, you get all that, you know the box. Let's get in the figure. It comes in 2 trays. These are the Waldos. We call these the Waldos, not the arms. We call them the Waldos. And then the figure. Now let me pause the recording, and we'll get everything out, and we'll get them all situated. And out of the package, this guy just cuts a mean look. This is just a Spider-Man you know isn't friendly neighborhood. This is the Spider-Man you know will beat your ass. This is the Spider-Man you know it pulls no punches and doesn't care what he does to you. For me, this is almost like if Miles had a sensational Spider-Man suit. Like if Miles had been Riley that took up on Spider-Man. I mean, just look at the designs. Very similar, very much an evolution of a character. And yeah, this guy's a little bit smaller, but I don't even care. He's so awesome. Yeah, this guy looks so good. I'm a big fan of the Superior Spider-Man suit. It's not my favorite suit. My favorite suit is really any of Ben Reilly's suits that isn't Chasm. And I just love this guy so much. He's so dope looking. He is so freaking cool, dude. And honestly, he has the same shade, about the same shade as the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield. So if you wanted to head swap that, we'll try that later. I'm getting ahead of myself. This dude is just look at him. And there's the backpack. We'll get to that, and the accessories as well. And just look, you got the red on the feet, you got the toe joint, you got it all. The only issue is, and I do agree it's an issue, no ball joint up at the top. Even as old as a figure as the Sensational Spider-Man, even though this guy's not that old, but articulation-wise, in the action figure world, this is ancient, for articulation, for the most part. For Hasbro, he doesn't have pinless technology on him, so people will call that ancient, but we'll look at the more modern and more recent version. He's small, a little bit smaller, and so I don't like that. These guys should be the same size, but this is actually a body that I would prefer for Peter. Actually, looks adult, for adult Peter. This looks adult, but also this Peter's a little bit too big. So I'd actually like this body to be Peter. So I want to see this design on this body, but with a ball joint. This type of setup, because the setup is very good. I don't want the head setup. I want the hinge. But besides that, everything else is good. So, and this goes back to the classic hinge. So I'm cool with that. So yeah. Besides that, this figure is just so cool. He's a little simple, black bodysuit with red accents on it, but it looks good. And as you'll notice, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with this guy because he's a comic book figure. My last review was about these guys, characters I don't really give a shit about. Or I do, but this is the one I give the most shit about. But I'm a comic guy. I'm a comics guy. That's who I am. And as you can see, this Peter, clean, friendly, will help you out, help you get a cat out of a tree, will take a picture with your kid. This Peter is telling you, no, get out of my way. I got some motherfuckers to go beat up. And you could tell that it's not quite Peter Parker. All the designs are there, but it's not quite Spider-Man. You got the messy webs that don't look clean. They don't look organized. They look like actually a spider web more than Peter's do. This looks like a spider web. I really love this design for this character. And then you got the black. I just wonder what would happen if this was a black and blue suit, maybe. I know that not black and blue, red and blue suit, maybe. I know black and red are also, they're the most classic. That's first appearance Spider-Man colors. But I like, everyone likes red and blue. To most people, that's the Spidey they think of. They think of red and blue. And that's good. That's cool. That's an iconic design. So I'd like to see this in maybe like in the comics come back, because I think they're probably going to bring him back. This was a very popular storyline until they kind of... The comic books always ruin something that's good eventually. Either it's bad from the beginning or they ruin it with bad writing. Got the amazing looking gauntlets that aren't separate pieces. Or they might be separate pieces, they're just glued on. So they're not removable like gauntlet pieces or anything. And they look so nice. They just look so nice. You got the red of the hands, which by the way, all the hands have, which is awesome. And then, I mean, that's granted, that's something that Hasbro should always do, but you never know especially with a domestic figure like this. So it's just so beautiful. And then for the head, you got the simulated city. And honestly, in promo pictures, I just thought these were straight up chrome eyes. I was like, damn, they're giving them the Cobra Commander chromey eyes look, like vac metal like type look that they used to do on old Toy Biz figures. I was like, damn, they're actually gonna do that with the Spider-Man eyes. That's how good they look. But in person you can tell, but they still look dope as shit. And then you're left with an extra Spidey head. So you can use this for... I'm planning on... I don't know which one I want. I might use this one for a custom, like make my own custom. Like, I'm really into Apocalypse looks, so I've been making Apocalypse looks of figures. So I might turn this into like Apocalypse Spider-Man, and the like messy line work actually could work for that. So that's cool. But yeah, great. We'll go over articulation first, and then we'll get into accessories. So for articulation, he's got, like I showed, he's got a hinge and a ball at the top of the head. And that gives you, if you plop it on, that gives you pretty good look up. You gotta pull that out a little. I like to not quite push it down too far so you can actually get more look up. That's about as much as you're gonna get really pushing it with the ball not even fully popped in. And then you get down that much. You don't really get tilt, but you can probably force it if you wanted to force a little tilt in there. And obviously get that. And then arm can go out to there. Well, it can actually probably go farther. Oh, way farther. Yeah. We got this. Otto's kicking ass. And then you got double jointed elbows. You have the hinge on the hand. And then you have a butterfly joint that can go back that far. And then forward that far. If you just push up a little bit, you can get even farther. So that's nice. And then you have no ball joint, which I know people are pissed off about, but for how good this figure looks, I will let it pass. That's kind of me being a Hasbro apologist, but I just feel like people give Hasbro way too much shit. They do a pretty good job. They should be listening to the fans more, yes, for shit like the Engine of Vengeance, HasLab, and stuff like that. They should listen to people, but this is a good figure. This is a win. Hasbro's been killing it lately, and if they keep it up with this trajectory, with all the figures they've been releasing that are just so fucking good, that people will buy Marvel Legends again, like, heavily. People already are, but it will be, like, people might start calling it Toy Line of the Year again. So that's awesome. So you have hinge back that far, and they actually painted it most of the way. I doubt that they would have been able to paint it any farther, so I'm going to give them a little slack. And you're not going to have them pose like that anyway. That's probably the farthest you'd push it, and even then, I don't think you're going to push it that far. But push it back that far, they don't have to paint anything. And then you have the waist cut, and then you can kick forward that far. It's a little gummy down there. I don't know why. I hope that peg isn't going to get sheared off, because if that peg gets sheared off, I did get this on Big Bad Toy Store, so I know they'll send me a replacement copy if they have one, but yeah, so I want to be careful with that. It's got drop-down hips, so that's an issue. Don't like drop-down hips. So you can push them forward that far. You can go out that far. I recommend putting a little shock oil or something on it, so I'll do that probably after the review. So you got upper thigh swivel. You have double jointed feetsies. You can't quite kick his ass because the muscle sculpt's too massive, but that's pretty good. You have boot cut. You can hinge the foot back that far, hinge it forward that far, for fishing pin for rocker. So let's get into accessories. The best part of an action figure for me, for the most part. I love accessory. I just love a good accessory. So we'll get into the normal ones, like the head I showed. The head's really nice. It's got that pearlescent white sculpt. And then you get the full array of hands. You get the punchies on him. Then you get the thwippies, which are also molded. And these would actually probably work for Miles as well, if you wanted to use these for like a Miles. But then you get the best hands. These will be the hands that will be on him on the shelf for me. The clawy. These are like, I don't know if these are reused from 2099, but they look like it, which I know I need a 2099 for the shelf. He's like sorely missing. And then you get the backpacks, and I'm gonna get the Mezco if I get him. Yeah, this is the one that doesn't accept the Waldos, and this is the one that does accept the Waldos. So for the purposes of this, I'm just gonna throw the one that accepts the Waldos in, because we have to show him what he looks like with the Waldos. So this is what he looks like with the pack actually on. And they're not too different, really. I mean, this one will probably lay more flush, and that's probably what it's for. But I don't mind this being thicker, especially because then I can just swap out the Waldos whenever I want. And then you can see there's pegs on the Waldos that you just pop right in. And then you push it as far as you can. And I'm going to do the last 4 off camera, or the last 3 off camera, because, well, I wanted to. It's harder to do it on camera than it is off camera. And you guys are going to sit here in silence while I do it. Well, not in silence. Like, can I really be silent ever? But you know what I mean. And we got the last one popping in right now. Okay. So, Waldos. These go crazy. I don't know how I'm going to get these on a shelf. Unless I, like, do some good, cool posing with it. Do they pose out that? No, they would pose in this way, right? Okay, so they're out of the package, they're weird. Okay, good to know. I might have them put in wrong, because out of the package, they're bent weird. What the freaking hell? So how do these work? Okay, the Waldos are a little weird. You're gonna have to fudge with them out of the packaging, so just be warned of that. Oh, these are tight as well, so be careful. I don't know if I'm going to use these very often if they're going to be this weird, but there are 1, 2, 3 joints in there, 4 if you want to consider the swivel down there, so you can get him in some pretty cool poses, but they're weird, a little weird. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to get these guys posed up, like, kind of more neutrally. I don't know if that's even possible with these fucking things. These things are weird. Yeah, I would recommend really being careful with these things. These things feel a little flimsy and hard to control, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, so that's the Waldos. You can get them kind of posed up. People have been really praising these things, but I don't know if I'm a fan. And luckily for me, I don't really give a shit if he has the Waldos or not. I already have the Iron Spider for that. And if Amazing Yamaguchi wanted to give us that design of those Waldos, I'm cool with that. Those are more intuitive. They're a little finicky as well, but just so you see, that's what he looks like with the Waldos on. I'll show you what it looks like with a Spider-Man next to him with the Waldos on. We're going to have to put him kind of behind, but that's kind of what he looks like. We're going to take the pack off, though. I don't know if I'm ever going to use this, but you could like use this as like a Spider-Bot type thing if you really wanted to, which is kind of cool. If you did that, or a customizer, want to do something crazy with this. And if you've seen Robo Don't Know, actually, which is, he was Foosh before, now he's Robo. Personally, my favorite toy YouTuber of all time. Aside from Glenn Webb, he kind of started all this for me, but, you know what happened to Glenn, so, but, as I was saying, he kind of did get him, like, posed up with the Waldos. I'm not doing that. That's too much work for me, so we'll get into size comparisons with him. I showed you the articulation points with the Waldos. I didn't articulate them because they're really tough. Like, these are, like, strong and tough, and weird and kind of dumb. But I don't know how Hasbro would have been able to do that. So we'll get him kind of posed up. Well, in a neutral stance if we can. See, that's a problem with him. His ankles are weird and he wants to fall a lot. So you're going to have to get him in creative poses or really work with that. So for size comparisons, we're going to get into the Spider-Man stuff. We have the Renew Your Vows. And these two are about the same size, actually. He just seems a little shorter. Not too bad. Next, we're going to go with... we'll go with my favorite Spider-Man. The Sensational Spider-Man. We got Ben Reilly. And these three are going to probably kick ass together on the shelf. So I'm a big Spider-Verse fan. I was reading comics heavily when it came out, and I was so hyped leading up to that event. This was before the movie and all that shit and all. Technically, I think for like the game Shattered Dimensions and what was it, Edge of Time? Is that the one with just Peter and Miguel? I think Edge of Time was Peter and Miguel, and then Shattered Dimensions was Ultimate Spidey, Spidey Noir, 616 Peter. I believe it was 616 Peter, and then Miguel. And Madam Web was like weaving it all together. I think that's what that was. So that's kind of the precursor. But all to say, I've been a massive, massive Spider-Verse fan since like I watched the episode of the '90s show. That was like the kind of the prototype of Spider-Verse. So I was really leading up to that. I was a big fan. I don't have any of the Spider-Women right now because I'm an idiot. I don't really have like Jessica or Cindy or any of them. No, I do have Cindy. I don't have Jessica, Drew, or Julia Carpenter. So I need to get those up. And we also have a Miles Morales, Marvel Legends. And then we have the Mayfair. Oh my god. Dude, come on. Stand up straight. You got this, dude. So yeah, that's like kind of an issue with him. Might want to put him on a Mezco stand or something. Just flying up above everyone. That might be what I do. We got the Mofex black suit. So those all look nice together. And then finally, we're going to go with the Mezco Spidey. And then, or not Spidey, Deadpool. I'm retarded. Probably shouldn't use that word, but I don't really give a fuck. And then the Amazing Yamaguchi 2.0 Spidey. So yeah, that's probably all the size comparisons I'm going to do. I'm going to do that head swap real quick with Andrew's mask. So we're going to get Andrew's body on here. And then, so for Andrew, we're going to see what that looks like on him. Ooh, and it sinks the head in a little bit, so you might want to put a little blue tack in there. But if you want to do some cool ACBA shots with like him looking throughout the city, the shades of red are a hair off and the head looks a little bit alienish, actually more than big, more alienish on him. But it's not bad. We'll try the pearlescent one. That's actually Andrew's. We'll try the pearlescent one on here too. And since it's actually not popping on all the way, and that makes it look a lot better. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could swap heads to Andrew. We'll see if you can swap heads from Andrew to this version. And you can, and it looks terrible. Well, I don't know. It looks a little small, but if you liked that, you can probably get with that. And then since he's Peter Parker, you can just put a Peter Parker head on him.